So this is specifying the folder path. Actually, so this is the Chapter 1 Missed Topics Part 2. So we're back to specifying the folder path. So this was, I think, I'm not sure if you already read this, but this was part of relative paths. In this expression, the link goes up to the parent folder docs through the use of the ... reference and then back down through the mobile folder to ct_locations.html. You should almost use the relative paths in your links if you have to move your files to a different computer or server. You should almost always use relative paths in your links. You should almost always use relative paths in your links. You should almost always use relative paths in your links. If you have to move your files to a different computer or server, you can move the entire folder structure without having to edit the relative paths you've created. If you use absolute paths, you will have to revise each link. To reflect the new location of the folder tree on the new device. The new location of, not or. So the new location of the folder tree on the new device. Okay, so I didn't really understand relative paths that well, but I feel like this could be a test theory question or something. So, just try to find an example of that somewhere. Now it says setting the base path. As you've just seen, a browser resolves relative paths based on the location of the current document. You define a different starting point for relative paths by adding the following base element to the document head. As you've just seen, a browser resolves relative paths. As you've just seen, a browser resolves relative paths. Setting the base path. As you've just seen, a browser resolves relative paths based on the location of the location. So as you've just seen, a browser resolves relative paths based on the location of the current document. You define a different starting point for relative paths by adding the following base element to the document head. So they are, for example, so perhaps relative paths start at some point. That's what they were trying to say, but they didn't. Can't really show that or say that. So what does it is angle bracket base space href points to the string URL, then space slash angle bracket. That says where URL is a location that you want the browser to use when resolving relative paths in the current document. The base element is useful when a single document from a website is moved into a new folder, rather than rewriting all of the relative paths to reflect the document's new location. The base element can point to the document's old location, allowing relative paths to work as before. Rather than rewriting all of the relative paths to reflect the document's new location. Rather than rewriting all the relative paths to reflect the document's new location. The base element can point to the document's old location, allowing relative paths to work as before. So perhaps the actual relative part of it is just how it kind of has a new folder to starting point. Not exactly sure because it didn't really mention that, so maybe that Sandeep guy has some kind of, actually I don't think he has so many explanations on HTML. Maybe there's some kind of definition somewhere on YouTube that might help. Or maybe ChatGPT or something. So that's it. There's 2 more topics. So it's linking to a location within a document. Let me find that here. Try to get kind of here. Go down and get a snack. Maybe some bread or something. So linking to a location within a document. So let me go to the table of contents. Actually, no. It's right here. Okay. To the next page. To linking to a location within a document. Hypertext can point to locations within a document. Hypertext can point to locations within a document. For example, you could link a specific definition so this is linking to a location within a document. So hypertext can point to locations within a document. For example, you could link a specific definition within a long glossary page to save users the trouble of scrolling through the document. Okay, I'm holding this book up again. This didn't really help. Websites containing the text of novels or plays can contain links to key passages or phrases within those works. When a link is established to a location within a document, the browser will jump to the location automatically, scrolling the page to the linked location. In general, a web page should not span more than 1 or 2 screen heights. This is a tip. In general, a web page should not span more than 1 or 2 screen heights. Studies show that users often skip long pages where the content runs off the screen. Okay, so you kind of know that too, like, you want to send a text but you don't know if they're going to open it, so you just send part of it, so just some of it is displayed anyways. But at least they read that part. That's basically the idea. So now they have here marking locations with the ID attribute. So marking locations with the ID attribute. So marking locations with the ID attribute in order to enable users to jump to a specific location within a document. This is all part of linking to a location within a document. So now you can mark locations with the ID attribute. So they're saying that in order to, so this is what they skipped in the notes, which is pretty important. So it says in order to enable users to jump to a specific location within a document, you need to identify that location by adding the following ID attribute to the element tag at that location. So in order to enable users to jump to a specific location within a document, you need to identify that location by adding the following ID attribute to an element tag at that location. So ID points to the string text. For example, ID points to the string text. That says where text is the name assigned to the ID. Imagine that Saja wants. So Saja rates a long page describing the full menu offered by a curbside type. You could mark the location and the page where the lunch menu is displayed by adding the following ID attribute to the H2 heading. That marks the start of the lunch menu section. Okay. Trace where text is the name assigned to the ID. Imagine that Saja rates a long page describing the full menu offered by curbside type. You could mark the location and the page where the lunch menu is displayed by adding the following ID attribute to the H2 heading that marks the start of the lunch menu section. You could mark the location and the page where the lunch menu is displayed by adding the following ID attribute. So you can mark the location and the page where the lunch menu is displayed by adding the following ID attribute to H2 heading that marks the start of lunch menu section. Okay, so angle bracket H2 space ID points to the string lunch. Close the angle bracket, and they have lunch menu, lunch space menu, then angle bracket slash H2 angle bracket. Please note that IDs must be unique. If you assign the same ID to more than one element, the browser will jump to the first occurrence of that ID value. So you can do it, it's just going to confuse the compiler, yes. says IDs are case sensitive. So, linking to an ID. So once you've marked the location with an ID, you link to the element that element using the following hypertext link. Anchor bracket A space href points to string file hashtag ID. Once you've marked the location with an ID, you link to that element using the following hypertext link. Once you've marked the location with an ID, you link to that element using the following hypertext link. Once you've marked the location with an ID, you link to that element using the following hypertext link. So it's angle bracket A space href points to the string file hashtag ID, close string, then close the angle bracket, then content is written, then angle bracket slash A angle bracket. That says where file points to the location and file name of the linked document. So where file points to the location and file name of the linked document. And ID is the value of an ID attribute. This is where file points to the location and file name of the linked. So where file points to the location and file name of the linked document. I'll get over what it says that and ID is the value of an ID attribute within that document. For example, to where file points to the location and file name of the linked document. Sorry, I'm having a hard time. Sleep or something. It says, try putting it on the side the book keeps falling too, so we have So let's just go back. Okay, so they had where file points to the location and file name of the linked document, and ID is the value of an ID attribute within that document. For example, the following hypertext link points to the element with the ID string lunch within the ct underscore full menus.html file. So the hypertext link, okay, so that is for example, the following hypertext link points to the element with the ID string lunch within the ct underscore full menus.html file. So it is angle bracket A space href points to the string ct underscore full menus .html hashtag lunch, close the string, angle bracket, okay, close the angle bracket, view error lunch menu, angle bracket slash angle bracket, sorry, angle bracket slash A, angle bracket. Remember, A represents hypertext links. So to link to a location within the current page, okay, so that is to link to a location within the current page, include only the ID value along with the hashtag symbol. Thus, the following hypertext link points to the lunch ID within the current web page. Angle bracket A space href points to the string hashtag lunch. So angle bracket A space href points to the string hashtag lunch, close string, close angle bracket, then it says view error lunch menu, angle bracket slash A, angle bracket. In both cases, clicking or touching the link will cause the browser to automatically scroll to the location within the page. Okay. So the next part is anchors, and the name attribute. So that is early web pages did not support the use of the ID attribute as a way of marking locations within a document. to anchors and the name attribute. Early web pages did not support the use of the ID attribute as a way of marking locations within a document. Instead, they used the angle bracket A angle bracket text with the A tag as an anchor to mark that page location. Hence the A in the A tag. The general form of the anchor was angle bracket A space name points to the string anchor, close angle bracket, then content, then angle bracket slash A angle bracket. Where anchor is the name given to the anchor text inserting the content. Where anchor is the name given to the anchor text inserting the name, inserting the content within the angle bracket A angle bracket tag. Whoops. Inserting content within the angle bracket A angle bracket tag was optional because the primary purpose of the tag was to mark a document location, not to mark up content. For example, the following code would establish an anchor at the start of the lunch menu. For example, the following code would establish an anchor. For example, the following code would establish an anchor at the top of the lunch section in the curbside type full menu. So angle bracket H2 angle bracket. Then angle bracket A space name points to the string lunch. Close angle bracket, then angle bracket slash A angle bracket, then lunch menu angle bracket slash H2 angle bracket. Okay, so let's see. Do that. This is like do location within a document. Oops, can't turn the page here. So once an anchor had been set, you would link to the anchor using the same syntax you would use with the ID attribute. So the use of anchors is deprecated, which means it's like gone. The use of anchors is a deprecated feature of HTML and is not supported in strict applications of XHTML. But you will still see anchors used in older code. Okay. Now there's a reference for this, what we just talked about. So maybe I'll just read it. So linking to a location of the document. To mark a location, add a unique ID to an element at that document location using the following ID attribute. So like ID points to the string text, where text is the value of the ID. To link to that location from different locations. Sorry. To link to that location from a different document, use the hypertext reference. to link to that location within. So to link to that location from a different document, use the following hypertext reference. Okay. Use hypertext reference. Angle bracket A space href points to the string file hashtag text. Close string. Close angle bracket. Then content. Then angle bracket slash A angle bracket. Okay, so that says where file is the name and path location if necessary. Of the external file and text is a value of the ID. To link to that location from within the same document, use the hypertext reference. Anchor bracket A space href points to the string $sign. Angle bracket A space href points to the string hashtag text. Close the string. So angle bracket A space href points to the string hashtag text. Close the string. Close the angle bracket. Content angle bracket slash A angle bracket. Okay, there you go. So that's that part. So some of them can be long, I guess. The next one is working with hypertext attributes. That's the last one. Which is kind of a, oh, she's not too bad. Okay, so it is. Working with hypertext attributes. HTML provides several attributes to the A element that control the behavior and appearance of hypertext links. So figure 1-44 describes these attributes. So attributes of the A element. So it says these describe these attributes, so attributes of the A element. So this is a table. To have attribute on the left side, description on the right side. There's only 2 columns in it. So it says A, so href points to the string URL. That provides the URL of the hypertext link. And they have here target points to In parentheses, there's underscore blank or underscore parent or underscore self or underscore top. So this specifies where to open the linked document. Next one is download points to the string file name. So it indicates that the link should be downloaded as a file. Where file name is the link given to the downloaded file, which is HTML5. So next attribute is rel points to the string type. Description is provides the relationship between the linked document and the current page. Then here they have hreflang points to the string lang. Indicates the language of the linked document. Last one is type points to string mime hyphen type string. That indicates the media type of the linked document. Okay, so this is the last part of this. So it says, using the target attribute, you can control how a page is opened. By default, the target of a link replaces the contents of the current page in the browser window. In some websites, you will want to open a link in a new browser window or tab so that you can keep the current page and the link page in view. To force a document to appear in a new window or tab, add the following target attribute to the A tag. So for example, it is angle bracket A space href points to the string URL space target points to the string window, close angle bracket, then content angle bracket slash A angle bracket, where window is a name assigned to the browser window or browser tab in which the link page will appear. You can choose any name you wish for the browser window, or you can use one of the following target names. So this is kind of confusing. So there's some target names. So these are the ones. They have underscore self opens a page in the current window or tab. The default, that's the default. Next one is underscore blank opens the page in a new unnamed window or tab. So underscore blank opens the page in a new unnamed window or tab depending on how the browser is configured. Underscore parent opens the page in the parent of the current frame for frame websites. Underscore parent opens the page in the parent of the current frame. Underscore parent opens the page in the parent of the current frame for framed websites. The last one is underscore top opens the page in the top frame for framed websites. Okay, so you should use the target attribute sparingly. Your website creating secondary windows can clutter up a user's desktop. Also, because the page is placed in a new window, users cannot use the back button to return to the previous page in that window. So I think opening in a new browser is actually helpful because sometimes the user doesn't want to move to another page. They must click the browser's program button or the tab for the original website. This confuses some users and annoys others. Many designers now advocate not using the target attribute at all, but instead provide the user with the choice of opening the link in a new tab or window. So yeah, maybe that's the best option to just ask. So that's it, I guess. That's it. So ending missed topics of the chapter.